Hey guys, today's flow is a balancing flow, so things might get a little bit wobbly, but just have fun with it. I'll offer an option later in class to use a sturdy cork block. So if you have one, that's great, and if not, we'll make do without. So whenever you're ready, we're gonna get started standing at the top of the mat. So at the top of the mat, your feet are hips width distance apart, about the space of 2 of your fists. And just come to Tadasana, relaxing the shoulders down the back, reaching the fingertips towards the ground, tucking the tailbone slightly, pulling that belly button in and up. We'll find all 4 corners of the feet here, so really press into the heels. Lift all 10 of your toes off the mat and see if you can spread them really wide. It might feel a little bit funny. And take a breath here. And then press down through the mounds of the toes, especially the big toe and the pinky toe, placing all 10 toes back on the mat. Really press down into them as you lift the heels off the mat, even if it's just a sliver. Take a breath here, find your balance, and then press the heels back down into the mat. Maybe take some rocks here. Back and forth, sending the weight into the toes and then the heels. Eventually make these rocks a little bit smaller. And again, find that pressing down of the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, and the heel really pressing into the mat. Feeling grounded down into the earth beneath your feet. Let's take 5 breaths here. Deep inhales. Long exhales. Last one. Good, and then interlace the hands behind the back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, open through the chest. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you bend the knees slightly and fold forward, draping the upper body over the lower body. Your hands might come up and over the head. Deep shoulder opener here. Keep breathing. Three more breaths. Try and keep the heels of the hands pressing together. Keep pressing your feet down into the mat, feeling grounded. Last breath. And then keeping the knees bent, slowly plant the hands down onto the mat, about shoulder width distance apart. Press into all 10 fingertips and just step back to your downward facing dog. Find any movement that would feel good, bending the knees, pedaling out the feet, maybe bending both legs at the same time, reaching the tailbone up towards the sky. Eventually, as you settle into stillness, again, feel grounded here. Find your foundation. Still pressing down, spreading the toes wide, pressing into the big toe and the pinky toe. The heel, if your heel's touching the ground. If not, just reach the heels energetically towards the ground. And press into all 10 fingertips. Really press the ground away from you. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Find 3 breaths in stillness. Last one. Bring the big toes together at the back of the mat. Take an inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky. And on your exhale, step the right foot in between the hands, rising up to your crescent lunge. Taking a breath here, pressing into the right heel. And then plant the left hand, reach the right fingertips up to the sky, find an open twist. One breath here. And then plant the right hand, step it directly back to your downward facing dog, big toes touch. Let's take that on the other side. Inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between the hands, rising up, crescent lunge. Take a breath, find your foundation. And then plant the right hand inside of the left foot. Reach the left fingertips up to the sky, find your twist. One breath here. And then plant the left hand, step it right back to your downward facing dog. Let's do that one more time, each side. Big toes come to touch. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through in between the hands. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge, and twist. Left hand to the mat, right hand to the sky. Inhale here. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Right to the other side, inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step it through. Rising up, crescent lunge. And then planting the right hand, find your twist. One breath in. Exhale, plant the left hand, step back, downward facing dog. 3 cleansing breaths. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, side out. Twice more just like that. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, side out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, side out. Bring the big toes to touch. Inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky. This time focus on pressing that left heel down and the right heel up a little bit higher. Take one more big breath in, and on your exhale, step the right foot in between the hands, rising up for your crescent lunge. And from this crescent lunge, bring your hands to heart center. And then start to shift your weight forward, hovering the torso just above the thigh. Again, feel your foundation, really pressing into that right heel. And then sweep your arms behind you, find airplane arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together. We're gonna power up through that right heel. And we're gonna come to a warrior 3. Beautiful. From this warrior 3, find your balance. Keep your left hand back and reach your right hand left hand forward. I'm gonna move back a little bit. Here we go. All right, reach your right hand back and your left hand forward. Holding here a little bit off balance, off center. Pull that belly button in. We're gonna find a flow. So from here, start to take the right hand back, the left knee into the chest, and the right hand up. And then we'll move back through that warrior 3. Right hand and left leg go back, left arm goes forward. Moving at your own pace, left knee into the chest, try not to touch the ground. Left hand back, right hand up. And then moving forward, warrior 3. Couple more rounds. If you fall out or wobble, just come right back to it. One more time in your warrior 3. And then pause the next time your left knee is into the chest. Reach your left hand up to meet your right. And then bring your hands through heart center. Open up that left hip towards the left side. Flex the left foot and place it on top of the right knee or thigh, sinking into your figure 4. Breathing here. always bring the fingertips down to the mat, a little bit more intense in the hip. Maybe you straighten the leg and fold forward. Lots of places to be. You can keep challenging the balance with the hands at heart center. We'll just take 2 more breaths here. And we'll take a slow transition to eagle. So wrap that left leg all the way around the right. You can either bring it to a kickstand or wrap it all the way around. Bring your arms to a T. And then your left leg is on top, so your left arm will come underneath your right. And you can bring your palms to touch. Ooh, falling. All right. And from here, just breathe. One more breath. And then slowly come out of it, making your way to standing. Shake it out. Maybe you swing the arms side to side. Come back through center. Inhale, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, fold forward. Take an inhale to find a halfway lift, fingertips to the ground, gaze forward. And then plant the hands and step back to a high plank. From your high plank, lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes, press into the tops of the feet and the hands. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take that on the other side. Breath in down dog to reset. And then bring the big toes to touch. Inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. Again, really focus on pressing that right heel down and the left heel up. Really stretching the front of the left leg, the back of the right. One more breath in. Exhale, step it through. I'm only gonna step it about halfway through because of the wall here. And then inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Again, find your foundation. And then bring the palms to touch and bring the hands through heart center. From here, start to shift the weight forward, hovering the torso just over the thigh. And from here, you'll start to sweep the hands back, airplane arms. Press even more firmly into that left heel. Fire up the left glute, fire up the abs, and we'll come forward into our warrior 3. Find your balance here. And then keep that left arm back and reach the right arm forward. A little bit off balance, probably a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit shaky. We'll find our flow. So this time the right arm comes back, the left arm comes forward, and the right knee comes into the chest. And then send it back, warrior 3, right arm forward, left arm back. Move through that a couple times, right knee into chest, switch the arms. Really wobbly here this morning. And then back to warrior 3. Last warrior 3 here. And then bring it back, right knee into chest, left arm up. Bring the right arm up to meet the left. Flex the right foot, open up that right hip. Bring the hands through heart center and place the right foot on top of the left knee or thigh for your figure 4. Like you're sitting back in a chair. You'll really feel this in your outer right hip. Nice deep stretch. Couple more breaths here. Remember, you can always bring the fingertips down to the mat, maybe straighten the left leg and fold forward, or stay in this balance challenge, whatever feels best. Still pressing down into our foundation, the 4 corners of that left foot. And we'll make a slow transition to eagle pose. So wrap that right leg around the left. Maybe come to a kickstand. Maybe wrap it all the way around. And then bring the arms to a T. This time the right arm comes underneath the left. Palms come to touch. Elbows in line with shoulders. Just breathe. One more breath here. And then slower than you want to, start to make your way out of it. Shake it out. And we'll take a vinyasa to rinse it out. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift halfway. Plant the hands high plank. Lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. And slowly walk your feet and your hands together. Meet in the middle of the mat. Maybe find a short ragdoll pose here, grabbing onto opposite elbows, rocking side to side. And then let your fingertips graze the earth, tuck the chin to the chest, and slowly come up to standing. All right, we're gonna find another balance challenge with the block here. So take your block and put it in the middle of the mat the long way so that your whole entire foot fits on it, or if your feet are smaller than mine, it will fit on it. We're gonna step onto the block for tree pose. So already finding a little bit of a balance challenge, a little bit of a wobble, just a couple inches off the ground. You're gonna really press down into all 4 corners of your right foot and start to bring your left foot to a kickstand. You might eventually bring the left foot to the shin, and you might eventually bring the left foot all the way to the right inner thigh. Maybe you bring your hands to heart center. Know that you might not go where you usually go in this tree pose, since we have some added challenges here. So do whatever feels good. If the block isn't working or you don't have one, just take a regular tree pose. I'm super focused on a dot on the ground. Focus on something that's not moving. 3 breaths. Last one. Slowly come out of it. Hands back to heart center. Left foot to the block. And then just hop off the block. Take a breath here. Reset. And then step back onto the block for the other side. Pressing the left foot into the block. And then bringing the right foot to a kickstand, maybe to the shin, maybe all the way up to the inner thigh. It's a little bit trickier than if we were all the way on the ground. So go where it feels good. Find your drishti, your focal point, and breathe. One more breath here, and then the hands come back through heart center. Step the right foot back onto the block, and then hop off the block. You can set it off to the side. We won't need that anymore. We'll rinse that out with a vinyasa. Inhale, look up, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, you can move through your vinyasa or just step it right back to downward facing dog. And when you get to down dog, bring the big toes to touch. Inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between the hands. You can bring your fingertips to the mat here, make your stance really wide, and then just take some rocks back and forth. Start to really drop your hips and your pelvis down to the ground, really strong in that back leg. Shining the heart forward through the biceps. And then from here, start to straighten both of the legs as much as you can. Find a wide pyramid pose. Stretch that left hamstring. And then move back through your runner's lunge, sinking into the hip. And back to your pyramid pose. One more time in that runner's lunge. And then back to pyramid pose. And from here, cross the left arm underneath the right. Start to pivot the feet so they face the long edge of the mat. And we'll pause here in a wide-legged forward fold. Option to bring your hands down to the mat. Option to grab opposite elbows. Grab the big toes. Do whatever feels good, just finding a little reset in between sides here. And then when you're ready, plant the hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, walk the hands towards the back of the mat, framing the right foot, finding your runner's lunge on the opposite side. So again, sink down into the hip, drop the pelvis, shine the heart through the biceps. Maybe find some movement here. And then the next time you exhale, straighten both of the legs as much as you can. And find that long pyramid pose. Inhale to come back through your runner's lunge. And exhale, back to pyramid. One more time in your runner's lunge. One more time, pyramid pose. Fold over that right leg. If it feels better to shorten your stance, of course, you can go there. And then cross the right arm underneath the left. Come towards the long edge of the mat once more. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, fold forward. Again, any variation that feels good. Maybe your forearms come down to the mat. And then when you're ready, just plant the hands underneath the shoulders, look up halfway, and start to heel toe your feet in together, eventually bringing your hands to your hips and standing all the way up. Take a breath here. And we'll come down to the mat onto all fours. We'll set up for puppy pose here, opening the chest and the shoulders. So plant the knees right underneath the hips. And the hands will start underneath the shoulders, and then keeping the knees and the hips where they are, we'll start to walk the hands forward. When you feel like you can't move forward anymore, just let the forehead, the chest, the throat really sink down towards the ground. You'll feel a deep opening in and around the armpits. Take a couple breaths here. Preparing for just one back bend to close out class. As you're ready, slowly start to come out of it, walking the hands back in towards center. And we'll set up for a round of camel pose. So bringing your feet, hips width distance apart. The toes can be tucked or untucked. It will be a little bit easier to reach the heels with the toes tucked. So you have a couple options here. You can start with your hands pressing into that low back with the fingertips facing up. Elbows press in towards one another. Really focus on lifting out of the hips. Lifting your torso out of your hips before you start to press the hips forward and come back. You can stay here. You can drop the head slightly. If it feels good, you can always bring one or both hands down to your heels. If it doesn't feel good to drop the head, keep the chin tucked. You can always untuck the toes. And then if you feel you've gone too far, gently come out of it. Again, you can always come back to that first variation. Five breaths. Two more breaths. When you're ready, we'll all meet in a child's pose. I like to have my hands long towards my feet to counter a back bend. Maybe give yourself a little massage on the forehead, shaking the head side to side. When you're ready to come out of this, just slowly make your way to a seated position. And cross one leg in front of the other. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to start with my left in front of my right. We're going to stretch out the hips a little bit. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, start to fold forward, walking the hands out in front of you. Walk the hands back into the center of the body, seated upright once more. Switch the cross of the legs. I'm going to place my right leg in front of my left. That's a little bit more awkward for me. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold forward. Keeping the sit bones rooted down into the ground. My right leg is in front here, so I'm feeling this more in my right hip. Start to walk the hands back into the center of the body. I'm finding any seat that's comfortable, and maybe that's sitting up on your shins. Bring the palms open, backs of the hands, resting on the knees. Relax the shoulders. Take your right ear to your right shoulder. And just breathe here into the left side of the neck. And gently take that left ear to the left shoulder, breathing into the right side of the neck. Come back through center. We'll end with 5 cleansing breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. After your 5th exhale, bring your hands to heart center. And thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.